Hey everybody, welcome back to Leosophy. I got 3 more questions. I'm going to jump right in. Question number 1. Why do so many societies practice, I'm grammar checking, sorry, practice polygamy but not the other way around? Okay, I think what you mean is, why is polygamy, because polygamy just means multiple spouses. Why is polygamy historically so common, whereas polyandry, multiple men, is not? I've never done this for a video before, but this would be a good time to break out the whiteboard. Hang on. Okay, this will be kind of fun, although kind of difficult to film. Let's see. Okay, so right off the bat, we're going to make some assumptions. This is like a little experiment, and it's proving why polygyny is more common than polyandry, because it's more advantageous. So the first assumption we need to make is, one, all organisms' ultimate goal, humans are peculiar because people have lots of goals, but the goal of every living thing is to survive and reproduce. And 100% of every living thing on Earth's ancestors survived and reproduced. So any kind of traits that were advantageous got passed on, and traits that weren't did not. Okay? Additionally, in the case of humans, a person gets 50% of their mother's DNA and 50% of their father's DNA, and the more genetic representation you have in the world, the more successful you are as an organism. Okay, so let's assume that. And similarly with this experiment, because we're going to be dealing with like thousands of generations of human beings, and we're condensing it, let's also assume that all the people in this little experiment are equal. None of them are like cheating on each other. None of them are sterile. They live in an equal environment, so there's no like volcanoes or plagues or anything. It's just sort of like perfect circumstances, because we're using a handful of examples to convey a very long and complicated thing. So if you can assume that, then this I think will make sense. So let's see. Control group would be a single man and a single woman. And probably ought to tilt the camera. There we go. So I have a little bit of a broader view. All right. And over here, we're going to have a polyandrous scenario. And over here, we're going to have, man, I wish I had a camera that zoomed really well. I could just use my webcam. Over here, we're going to have a polygynous couple. Okay, so we've got our 3 little test subjects, and everything's going great. They all just met each other, and we fast forward a year, okay? Fast forwarding a year. I'm going to pause it so it doesn't take too long to make this video. Okay, we have fast forwarded a year, and what has happened in that year is the monogamous couple has produced a child. Sex of the child is irrelevant. The polygynous couple have produced 2 children, and the polyandrous couple, or trio rather, has produced 1 child, okay? So, who gets genetic representation? Let's see. The woman here is going to get 50% representation from this child, because half her DNA goes into that child. The man is also going to get 50%, so that works great for them. That's the gold standard right there. Let's check out the polygynous couple. In this case, there's 2 children, right? So she's going to get 50%, and she's going to get 50% for her kid. But interestingly enough, this guy over here, he's got 50% and 50%. So what percent does he actually have? It's not 100 technically, because a lot of those genes are going to be repeated. We actually don't really have a hard number, but it's going to be between 50 to 100%. 50 being almost impossible, because they'd have to share no genetics, really. They'd get all their genes from the other part that got shuffled. And then 100 is almost impossible too. That's identical twin territory, and the idea of fraternal people being identical. So the average would be 75%. So he's got 75% genetic representation in the world in 1 year. Both women have 50%, the same as the monogamous couple. So this is great for all parties involved. He is just batting 1,000. Now let's see about this. Okay, so we have the polyandrous couple. She got 50%. What about these guys? What's their number? How are they represented? See, it's not like with the 50 to 100. It's not 0 to 100. It's a zero-sum game. It's 0 or 50. See that? Same thing for this guy, 0 or 50. So right off the bat, we're having a problem with polyandry. This is why it's not such a common thing. Neither of these guys are winning in the sense that they don't know whether they're 0 or 50. So that's bad right out the gate. So let's fast forward another year. Okay, so we fast forwarded and it's a very messy drawing. But as we can see here, we fast forwarded a year. Now they have 2 children, the monogamous couple, and they both have 50% of their DNA among 2 children, which means they also approach 50 to 100%, both of those being extreme cases, so the average would be 75%. The polygynous couple, or trio, are doing even better. They have 4 children, which I bet would be really hard to take care of 3 people, but still. And in this instance, the women have 75% representation now, both of them. They both benefited, the exact same as the monogamous woman. And in this case, the man is approaching, emphasis on approaching 100%. So this is phenomenal for him. And on the other hand, she's got 75%, just like before, and the men are in the exact same position. They're either, it's a 3 options now. They're 0, they're 50, or they're 75. 0, 50, or 75. 0 or 50 or 75. That is a nightmare scenario. What's the advantage for either one of them? They would both benefit tremendously more in terms of acquiring resources to feed a child and all that by being monogamous. So this is why you don't see polyandry historically. In fact, there's only one scenario where I've heard of polyandry being common, and that's in a tribe where there's a peculiar genetic defect where the men produce half the number of female sperm, and as such, there's a lot more women than men. That's the only scenario. Otherwise, this is the gold standard for a reason, because both equally benefit, and this is also historically common because, again, with the exception of the fact that in this instance the man's going to have to acquire more resources to feed more children, the women are benefiting just as much as the monogamous women, and he's benefiting even more. So that's the deal. Hope that explains things pretty clearly. This is the first time I've ever used the whiteboard for one of these questions, so that was actually kind of fun. Kind of want to do that more. Well, I thought I was going to answer 3 questions, but this turned into a long video, so how about we just have it be 1 question this time around, guys? Like, share, subscribe, keep asking questions. Bye.